In 1707, following an act of union with Scotland, a united kingdom was created. The rude heart and lungs of the new nation was London. Dynamic, exciting, busy, chaotic, noisy and smelly, where rich and poor collided. Growing up in London, first in Smithfield, then working as a young artist in Covent Garden, was the first chronicler of Georgian Rude, William Hogarth.
Hogarth definitely had a taste for the rude. He was a stroppy individual, and he had a scar on his forehead which he showed in his portraits as if to say, I can keep up with the best of you. And we know that he loved the taverns around Covent Garden and Leicesterfield, the Rose Tavern, and he chatted to the, you know, he knew the girls, he knew the boards, he knew the pimps, he knew the sort of hustlers.
Hogarth was just such a bloody good artist. As an engraver, he could combine his skills that he'd learnt as an apprentice engraver with a kind of satirical, piss-taking sensibility. So, using those skills, he could then actually observe the world around him. And he used to sort of walk down the street doing literal thumbnail sketches. He used to draw on his thumbnail because he'd see somebody he liked the look of, and then he'd sort of put them into these tableaus.
Hogarth used the high art of painting to capture the rude energy to be found on the streets of London. In 1733, he painted the riotous carnival, which took place in Borough, near St George's Church on the south bank of the Thames. This was Southwark Fair.
The sheer celebration, really, of the diversity of types and of people and of incidents and of noises and of action. You can almost hear the bubble of noise, the banging of drums, of course, at the centre of the picture.
You've got stories being told, consequences being explained, details here, there, everywhere. It's a feast. It's a the wonderful thing about Hogarth is his works are a visual feast, and they're there to be read.
If we look closer, we can see the rude, illicit pleasures of the fair.
There's a woman dicing at this little, on top of what looks like a crate or a table, and you get the sense that there's this bumpkin who's just arrived from the sticks, who's having a go on the dice, whereas a smaller kid, it looks like at his elbow, is tugging on his sleeves to say, you know, don't dad, you know, don't stop gambling. There's an extraordinary thing where people are looking into. I mean, it looks like a dog kennel, but it's a peep show, and one does wonder what exactly are they looking at?
It is a great sort of sense of excitement and carnival, but also something slightly dangerous. Everything is on the verge of collapse. You know, the man is falling from the wire, and there was a case of that very near the time. The stage on which the fall of Bajazet is about to be presented is actually falling, and the more you look, you realise it's falling onto a china shop underneath.
Southwark Fair was first a colour painting, then became a black and white print. To make a living, Hogarth made engravings of his work. Print copies were then made from these engraved images. It was these mass-produced pictures that were sold to the public. So Hogarth made Southwark Fair a portrait of the city that all Londoners could recognise and share and want to own.
Probably each person in it is a particular person, is identifiable as a semi-celebrity of the day. The prize fighter sitting on his horse, the pantomime actor in his absurd regalia. These are particular people. And it's the pleasure of identification. It's very much part of what 18th century satire was about, the delight of seeing people you knew or knew of in them.
Hogarth made sure his prints were rude, bawdy and rude lewd, with a visual wit and attention to detail which heightened the humour.
I think part of the pleasure of looking at Hogarth prints is finding the extra little story, and these are often sort of sexy little narratives so that you notice what's going on in a corner and you chuckle, or sometimes actually you could be quite shocked.